Greetings, YouTube. I'd like to unleash back at you from right here at the Green Thumb Garden channel here in the Grow Zone 8B, right here in Tifton, Georgia. And in this morning's video, YouTube, I'm super stoked to be bringing you guys along with me back out to the Wildings Landing for a peek at our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, that we've been growing in our front yard garden extended grow area for approximately the past 9 months. If you've been following the video series on that Celeste fig tree, YouTube, you know that we took that cutting from a neighbor's yard during our greenhouse overwintering experiment this past winter. We actually propagated that cutting in our greenhouse. It grew super slow because, if you've been following that video series, our greenhouse was unheated and we only utilized the light from the sun to light our greenhouse during our greenhouse overwintering experiment. At any rate, YouTube, it has been approximately 50 days since we brought you guys our last video update on our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. During our last video update, it was actually day 110. So I'm going to call this day 160 days, meaning that 160 days have passed since we planted our Celeste fig tree in our front yard garden extended grow area. I'm going to swing this camera around for you guys right now, YouTube. Walk you out to the Wildings Landing and give you guys a peek at exactly what has happened out at the Wildings Landing with our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, in approximately the past 50 days. Hang tight, YouTube. All right, YouTube, here we are indeed on our way back out to the Wildings Landing, where we have our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, currently planted. Again, she is approximately 9 months old. We propagated our Celeste fig tree from a cutting that we took from a neighbor's yard and rooted that cutting in our greenhouse during our greenhouse overwintering experiment. And YouTube, this is what our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, is currently looking like right here, right now, Grow Zone 8B in Tifton, Georgia. Take a look at this, YouTube. Bam! Can you see that, YouTube? Can you guys see how spectacular our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, is currently looking right here, right now, in our front yard garden extended grow area? If you've been following the video series on this particular fig tree, you recall that during our last video, YouTube, there were currently 4 side branches that had sprouted from the base of Mrs. Lori. We have since then removed 3 of those side branches and rooted those side branches. And we left that one remaining side branch where it is, YouTube, because that one remaining side branch has a Breba fig on it that you can see right there. Has one Breba fig on it, YouTube. We left this particular side cutting here in order to allow that one Breba fig to go ahead and ripen. And once that Breba fig actually ripens, YouTube, we will indeed be removing this particular Celeste fig tree side branch from our Celeste fig tree. It is indeed fully rooted. We added more soil and more mulch around the base to ensure that its root system have a lot of material to grow in, and it is indeed fully rooted already. We're again just simply waiting for this one Breba fig to ripen, YouTube. And not only that, YouTube, the main thing I want to show you guys today is that indeed, our Breba figs have begun to finally ripen on our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. We've been waiting on this, YouTube. We've been waiting. Today is August 25th, 2020. And our Breba figs, YouTube, our Breba figs on our 9-month-old Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, have finally begun to ripen. Take a look at this, YouTube. You guys see that, YouTube? Can you see how our first Breba fig is beginning to finally ripen? It is taking on a between green and yellow color here, YouTube. It has finally begun to swell. That's our first Breba fig, YouTube. Take you guys around and show you a much more developed Breba fig on our Celeste fig tree, YouTube. This is our second Breba fig, YouTube, and doesn't it look spectacular? It is bursting with juice. Can you guys see that juice? that is currently exuding YouTube. It's our second Breba fig in our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. It is indeed looking spectacular, and again, changing colors on us and finally beginning to ripen YouTube. This is our third Breba fig, also displaying those same characteristics. And our fourth and final Breba fig on this side, finally again beginning to ripen and display those same characteristics. And the remaining figs on our tree, YouTube, the remaining 30 plus figs on our fig tree are all main crop figs. I'm gonna take you guys in for some close-up of those right now, YouTube. This is one of our side branches here. As you can see, it has about 4. We have 2 large ones here and 2 smaller ones on the other side. So there's about 4 figs on this one little branch here, YouTube. Next up, you see all those figs over in there, YouTube? All of those are indeed main crop figs on our 9-month-old Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. And we couldn't possibly, YouTube, be more excited and pleased by the amount of figs that our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, is currently developing. The amount of main crop figs, YouTube, that are currently developing on this plant. We predict that our main crop figs will be, our larger ones will be ready and ripe in about 50 to 60 days from now. And our smaller ones, YouTube, may be October, early October, before those are actually ripe here, YouTube. But again, we could not possibly be more pleased by what we currently see in the amount of figs that our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori, at 9 months of age, has produced for us thus far this grow season. Again, we have a super long grow season here at the Green Thumb Gardening Channel. A grow season of almost 9.5 to like 10 months, depending upon how the weather changes from year to year, YouTube. So we do indeed expect that all of our developing and more developed main crop figs will have plenty of time to ripen before the weather changes here at the Green Thumb Gardening Channel. Again, YouTube, again, our Breba figs on our Celeste fig tree have indeed begun to ripen for us. I'm not sure if this camera is doing our Celeste fig any justice here, YouTube. I'm out here in the sun with a shadow on what I'm doing. So I hope you guys are getting a good picture of exactly what's going on with our Breba figs here on our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. Thanks for watching, YouTube. And if indeed you currently are watching this video and you're not already subscribed to the Green Thumb Gardening Channel, please indeed take this moment to press that subscribe button beneath this video, that like button, that notification button, and be sure, YouTube, be sure to share this video with your friends and family as well. Yeah, our ripening Breba figs on our Celeste fig tree, Mrs. Lori. Thanks for watching, YouTube.
I might not say it often, and if I don't come around, know that I love you, mother, and I won't ever let you down. It wasn't easy, but you taught me how to be a man. You told me take my promises and place them in the Lord's hands. Sometimes I reminisce, amazed at how you made a way to clothe and feed me and my siblings each and every day. In every school event, you make sure that you got involved. Don't know how you did it all and worked a full-time job. You taught me how to pray and read me my first Bible verse. And every Sunday you got us dressed and took us all to church. You always made the time for us and you were always there. I still remember how you washed and pressed my sister's hair. When we got sick, I can recall you at our bedside. Late night just making sure that we were alright. And when I needed your advice, you always kept it real. So I wrote this song for you to let you know just how I feel. in this world and raised me with your own hands. Saying nothing on this earth could change the lowest plans. I still remember, I see clear like it was yesterday. Growing up in Atticus, Georgia, where we used to stay. Since it was right across the street, there was no missing school. And plus we knew that we would get it if we broke the rules. There was no skipping class cause we didn't have nowhere to go. Back then a neighbor could spank your butt and let your parents know. I wrote this song to thank you for your every sacrifice. And for blessing us all with your compassion and a good life. I still include you in